What if I told you that reality itself is constantly trying to enter into a dialogue with you, but you were taught not to notice it? Every day, subtle hints appear on your path, moments too precise to be mere coincidences. A melody that plays at the exact moment you think of a certain person. A number that seems to follow you everywhere. A random passerby who suddenly says exactly what you needed to hear. You've grown used to dismissing such things as chance, even though deep down you always felt there was something more behind them. And you were right. Synchronicities are not chaos, they are signs. They are patterns woven into the fabric of existence, guiding you towards something meaningful. Ancient cultures understood this. Mystics and thinkers studied these phenomena. But the modern world prefers to call them luck, randomness, or coincidence, because it is not in the system's interest for you to see the true picture. These moments are evidence that the universe is structured differently than you were led to believe. In this material, we will lift the veil and explore what synchronicities truly are, why they arise, and how you can use them to transform your life. From birth, you were conditioned to live in a world of logic, order, and predictability. Everything had to have a rational explanation, and anything beyond those boundaries was labeled fantasy or coincidence. But what if this worldview was shaped intentionally? What if it was created to hide from you the deeper processes unfolding around you? Think back to yourself as a child. Back then, you naturally felt rhythms, intuition, subtle connections. You noticed how events aligned in surprising ways, how you could sense things before they happened, how you instinctively knew when someone was thinking about you. But the moment you shared these experiences, you heard, you're imagining things. You were taught to reject such perceptions and trust only what could be measured, proven, or classified. The system convinced you that the world is nothing more than a material mechanism. No mystery, no deeper meaning. Just a set of random, unrelated events. Gradually, you stopped paying attention to what you once sensed so clearly. Education played a key role in this. You were not taught to listen to your intuition, notice synchronicities, or understand energy. You were taught to memorize, obey, and follow rules. Creativity, imagination, and abstract thinking were pushed aside in favor of logic and facts. If something couldn't be seen or measured, it was considered unreal. Questioning this model was discouraged. The entire system is built on making you trust external authority rather than your own inner knowing. Science became the main filter of truth, but not the kind of science that explores the unknown. Instead, a rigid, mass materialist version that insists everything is randomness and probability. Within this worldview, synchronicities are nothing more than perceptual errors. Your brain is supposedly tricking you. You keep seeing 1111, it's just confirmation bias. You meet the right person at the perfect moment, just luck. Everything is stripped of meaning, and you lose connection with the forces that could guide you. But there is something you are not told. Great minds of the past, Carl Jung, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, understood that reality is not as chaotic as commonly believed. They saw in synchronicities and hidden connections the keys to a deeper truth. Yet society mocks those who take such phenomena seriously. Mention synchronicities, and you may be called naive, illogical, or strange. People who trust such signs are often labeled eccentric, while those who cling to materialism are praised as rational and reasonable. This is not an accident. It is a form of social conditioning. If the goal is to keep people under control, the first step is to deprive them of awareness of their own power. Because the moment you begin to notice synchronicities, you realize something important. You are connected to something much greater. The real reason you are not encouraged to see these signs is that they disrupt the familiar illusion. They reveal that reality is not a cold mechanism, but a living network that responds to your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. Once you start recognizing these patterns, you can no longer ignore them. And this is the moment when awakening begins. A new question arises. If synchronicities are not random, then what exactly are they? Where do they come from? And why do they increase once you start noticing them? It's time to go deeper. Every person has experienced a moment so precise and timely that it seemed impossible to call it coincidence. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and they suddenly reach out. You open a book to a random page and find the answer to the question that's been troubling you. You keep seeing repeating numbers, 111, 222, 333, as if reality itself is leaving you clues. These are not random events, they are signals. And the more attentive you become, the more often they appear. But the real secret lies elsewhere. Synchronicities are not just coincidences. They are conscious impulses from a deeper intelligence, a force that has quietly accompanied you your entire life. The universe is not a collection of disconnected events, but a unified field of consciousness and energy. Every thought, every emotion, every intention creates a vibration, like a radio signal. And synchronicities are the way the universe responds to you, linking the visible with the invisible, the material with the immaterial, the conscious with the subconscious. Carl Jung, one of the most influential explorers of the human psyche, coined the term synchronicity after encountering countless cases that defied ordinary logic. He believed that such meaningful coincidences were not random, but reflected the existence of a deeper, hidden order, an idea that ancient spiritual traditions had understood for centuries. Eastern teachings connect this to karmic mechanisms. Mystics call it divine timing. Quantum physicists describe something similar as non-locality, the principle that everything in the universe is interconnected beyond space and time. Yet mainstream science prefers to avoid this topic, dismissing it as illusion despite abundant evidence to the contrary. Think about it. The entire universe is built on patterns and interconnections. Natural forms follow fractal structures. Planetary orbits obey perfect mathematical ratios. Your DNA is based on repeating codes. Everything that exists operates through cycles, rhythms, and relationships. Why should human experience be the exception? Why shouldn't your thoughts, feelings, and choices be part of the same hidden structure? In truth, they can. And synchronicities are the confirmation of this invisible design. They're cracks in the familiar worldview, moments when the hidden order of the universe becomes visible. And once you begin to notice such phenomena, you realize that reality is far more flexible than you were taught. But if synchronicities are messages, the next question arises: who or what is sending them? Some believe they are signals from your higher self, guiding you toward the right decisions. Others see them as manifestations of the collective unconscious, the shared field of human archetypes and experience. Still others attribute them to the influence of a higher intelligence, whether the universe, the quantum field, or what people call God. The source matters less than the fact itself. Synchronicities exist and serve a purpose to guide you. There is another important aspect. Synchronicities do not appear chaotically. They emerge when you enter a certain state. Notice the pattern. They occur most often when you are in a state of flow, fully present in the moment, going through an important life transition, acting intuitively rather than rationally, when you are relaxed, open, and trusting the process. And conversely, when you are consumed by anxiety, resistance, or overthinking, synchronicities fade. Why? Because synchronicities are connected not only to external events, but to your internal state. When your energy aligns with the flow of the universe, the signs become unmistakable. When you block that flow with fear, doubt, or denial, the connection weakens. This is why people who frequently experience synchronicities don't just notice them, they consciously create the conditions for them to appear. They set intentions, ask questions to the universe, and remain open to any form of response. It is not passive observation, but an interaction between you and the field of reality. You are not just an observer, you are a participant. And the more actively you participate, the stronger the response becomes. So, how do you begin? How do you tune into these signals and receive clear guidance? The first step is awareness. Not the superficial kind, where your attention is scattered and your mind jumps between dozens of thoughts, but true awareness, when you are fully present and receptive to everything happening around you. Most people live in constant mental noise, memories of the past, worries about the future, endless inner dialogues. They are so absorbed in their minds that they miss the signs appearing right in front of them. Synchronicities happen all the time, but if you are not present, you won't see them. They pass by like a radio signal you can't catch because you're tuned to the wrong frequency. So, how do you tune in? Here are several methods that truly work. Practice mindfulness in every moment. Slow down. Notice details. When you walk, observe instead of drifting into thoughts. When you communicate, listen not only to words but to energy. The more you cultivate presence, the clearer synchronicities become. Pay attention to repeating patterns. If certain numbers appear again and again, if the same phrase or symbol shows up in conversations, books, or media, if the same theme or person keeps returning to your life, this is not coincidence but guidance. Observe your inner state. Synchronicities often arise when you are in a particular emotional or mental condition. Were you calm and open, or tense and resistant? Your state influences whether synchronicities appear. Trust your intuition. The strongest synchronicities come with a feeling of deep knowing. You can't explain it logically, but you sense its importance. It may show up as chills, resonance, or sudden clarity. Don't ignore these moments. But here is what many people overlook. Synchronicities are not universal symbols with fixed meanings. They are personal. The same event can mean completely different things to different people. That's why it's essential to develop your own language of communication with the universe. If you constantly see white feathers, and each time it coincides with significant moments, that is your personal sign. If a certain song plays during moments of clarity, that is your signal. The universe speaks to you in your language. Your task is to learn to understand it. One of the most powerful tools is a synchronicity journal. Write down everything unusual, meaningful, or strangely timely. Over time, you'll see recurring themes, symbols, and messages. And once you begin tracking them, synchronicities will appear more often. Why? Because you show the universe that you are listening. You enter into dialogue. And then the answers become louder, clearer, and more frequent. But the real power comes later. The more you notice synchronicities, the deeper you understand their meaning. Because they are not just signs. They are guidance. They are leading you somewhere. But where exactly? And what happens when you begin following these hints? It's time to find out. Now that you know how to recognize synchronicities, the next question arises. What are they trying to tell you? These are not just curious coincidences scattered throughout your life. They are messages, directions, answers. But they do not speak directly. They speak in the language of symbols, emotions, and energy. And if you don't understand how to read this language, you will notice the signs, but their meaning will slip away. It's important to remember, different synchronicities carry different messages. Some come as confirmation. These are the moments when your thoughts instantly reflect in the outer world. You're contemplating an important decision, and someone suddenly voices exactly what's on your mind. You doubt whether you're on the right path, and a sign appears as if saying, "Yes, keep going." Such synchronicities are the universe's way of letting you know you're aligned. Other synchronicities serve as warnings or course corrections. Perhaps you felt inner resistance toward a certain step, but ignored it. Then strange things begin to happen. Opportunities vanish, meetings fall through, everything feels heavy and unnatural. This is not a sign that the world is against you. It's a hint that you've drifted away from your inner alignment. The universe gently nudges you to pay attention and change direction. And then there is the strongest type of synchronicity, the ones that give a direct impulse to act. These are not subtle hints, but bright, unmistakable signals. You keep encountering the same person in unexpected places. You hear the same message from different people within days. An opportunity appears, and everything aligns perfectly. This is not coincidence. This is an open door. And your task is to walk through it. But this is exactly where many people stop. They see a sign, feel an inner nudge, sense that something is trying to guide them. But then doubt appears. They think, what if I'm wrong? What if it's just a coincidence? What if I'm imagining it? And they freeze, waiting for more confirmation, more clarity, more certainty. But it's important to understand, synchronicities are not about absolute certainty. They are about trust. The universe will not reveal the entire path in advance. It will show you only the next step. And that is enough. It gives you just enough to move forward, but not the whole picture. Why? Because life is not about following a pre-written script. It is a co-creation with the universe, step by step. The more you trust the signs, the more often they appear. The more you act, the stronger the guidance becomes. But if you ignore them, doubt them, or reject them, they gradually fade. The universe will not continue speaking if you are not listening. So, how do you decode synchronicities? It all begins with the right questions. When a sign appears, pause and ask yourself, what was I thinking or feeling right before this happened? What decision is in front of me, and is this connected to it? Does this confirm what I was doubting or challenge it? Has this happened before? One of the most effective tools is a synchronicity journal. Write down everything unusual or meaningful. Over time, you will see patterns, recurring symbols, themes, messages, and an increasingly clear direction. The more you track synchronicities, the more often they appear. But here's the key. Noticing synchronicities is only the beginning. Real change happens when you act. If a sign repeats and urges you toward a step, take it. If the same message appears again and again, it's because the universe is waiting for your response. People who live in the flow of synchronicities are those who trust and act. And this brings us to the next stage: how to consciously attract more synchronicities into your life. Because once you understand how to open the channel, you can use these signs as a tool for real transformation. Recognizing synchronicities is one thing, but using them for transformation, that's where the true power lies. Synchronicities are not just signs, they are invitations, opportunities to shift, align, and enter a state where events unfold naturally and favorably. The question is whether you notice this, and whether you are willing to act. Many people treat synchronicities as something mystical but passive, just interesting coincidences. But in reality, they're a form of direct communication between you and the deeper intelligence of the universe. They are signals that you are either in harmony or out of it. People who frequently experience synchronicities are not simply lucky. They are the ones who consciously create their reality. So, how do you use synchronicities for change? It all comes down to 3 steps: intention, alignment, and action. Set a clear intention. Synchronicities respond to focus. The clearer your thoughts and desires, the clearer the signs become. If you need guidance, ask for it directly. Form an intention. Show me a sign that I'm on the right path. Reveal the next step. Bring the right people and opportunities into my life. The key is to stay open to how the answers come. The universe does not speak linearly. It speaks through symbols, emotions, and events. The more often you ask, the more signs you begin to notice. Align your energy. Synchronicities reflect your inner state. If you are in fear, doubt, resistance, or overthinking, the flow is blocked. But when you enter a state of trust, inspiration, and openness, the signs appear more quickly. This is why synchronicities often intensify during major life transitions, when you step onto a new, unfamiliar, but internally aligned path. One of the most effective ways to amplify them is to elevate your state. Practices like meditation, gratitude, visualization, and deep self-awareness shift you into a space of openness where synchronicities can manifest freely. If you've ever experienced a period when everything seemed to fall into place effortlessly, it wasn't magic, it was alignment. Act according to your inner direction. This is where many stumble. They notice the signs but hesitate. They doubt. They wait for additional confirmation. But synchronicities are not just observations, they are impulses for movement. If the same number, symbol, or phrase repeats again and again, it is not random. It is a call. If you feel drawn to a new path, person, or opportunity, the universe is opening a door for you. Your task is to walk through it. And here is what's especially important. Synchronicities intensify when you follow them. The moment you begin trusting these hints and taking action, reality starts rearranging itself around you. The more attentively you listen, the clearer the signs become. The universe responds to movement. People who live in a deep flow of synchronicities don't ignore the hints, they act. And because of this, their lives begin to unfold as if everything happens on time and without effort. They don't wait for life to bring them something. They create life together with it. And now you face a choice. Now that you understand what synchronicities are, how they work, and how to use them, what will you do with this knowledge? Because the final step is to weave this into your everyday life, to fully step onto the path of awareness, connection, and inner alignment. And that is exactly where we are heading. Now that you know the essence of synchronicities, the main question is, what are you going to do with this understanding? Most people, after hearing all of this, return to their old patterns. They notice a synchronicity, feel surprised, and then dismiss it as coincidence. They receive a sign pointing toward a new direction, but they begin to hesitate, analyze, and let fear hold them back from taking the next step. They get stuck in a cycle of doubt, waiting for more proof, more confirmation, more certainty. But the truth is that certainty appears only after action. The system conditioned you to ignore such signs, rationalize them, and stay disconnected from the deeper intelligence guiding your life. But now you see differently. Now you understand that reality is not chaotic. It is structured, intelligent, and responsive. And more than that, you are part of this structure. Your thoughts, emotions, and decisions shape the path ahead. You don't just move through reality, you create it. What does this mean? It means that synchronicities don't just happen to you, they happen for you. Every coincidence, every perfectly timed moment, every repeating number, symbol, or message is an invitation. An invitation to step into a new way of being. An invitation to trust, expand, align, and most importantly, act. If you take only one idea from this, let it be this. Do not ignore the signs. The universe speaks quietly at first. If you don't listen, the messages grow louder. If you continue to ignore them, synchronicities fade and you return to unconscious patterns, moving without direction. But if you listen, if you treat synchronicities as real signals, if you follow where they lead, your life can transform completely. People who experience the most synchronicities are not lucky. They are attentive. They act on intuition. They trust the process. And because of this, their lives begin to flow as if something invisible is helping them behind the scenes. Because it is. You've already seen these patterns. You've felt moments of alignment. Now it's time to stop doubting and start trusting. Notice the signs, follow them, act. Because once you enter a state of alignment, you realize synchronicities are not rare at all. They are everywhere, simply waiting for you to wake up and finally see them. And remember, your reality is shaped by what you allow into your consciousness every day. If you want change, start by changing the flow of information you consume. This is not theory, it's a pattern. Every time a new video appears, you receive a reminder, a signal to your subconscious to tune into the right frequency. It's an anchor that brings you back to awareness amid the chaos of informational noise. One viewing shifts your thinking for an hour. Consistent exposure to the right content changes your life forever. Let every notification become a synchronicity, reminding you of who you've chosen to become. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. If you felt that this video is not just information but a reminder of who you can be, subscribe. This is not a random impulse. It is an invitation. An invitation to step beyond old patterns, stop living on autopilot, and begin hearing reality more deeply. Subscribing is a symbol of your choice. To move consciously, to see the signs, to trust the process, and to walk toward the place where you become yourself.